Jonathan here. Today I wanted to talk to you about corrective exercise strategies for the Levator scapula. I was training a client yesterday and she was having some tightness in that area. And it was really affecting our pulling movements and also our pressing movements. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhibit that muscle and then we're going to lengthen it. A couple things before we get started is some of the things the scapula can do or our shoulder blade can do is it can elevate, we can get some depression, we can get some protraction, we can get some retraction. We also get some upward and downward rotation, but we'll save that for another day. One of the ways we're going to address this muscle, the Levator scapula, which if you take one hand and reach over, feel your top part of your shoulder blade towards the middle side of the body. That's where that muscle is going to insert. And we're going to use one of these balls that the baseball players use in the pitching machine. I don't know what it's called. But we also have a racquetball, tennis ball, and a softball. If you're just getting started, you're going to want to start with something racquetball or tennis ball, less dense. And once you're feeling frisky or you've been doing it for a few weeks, you can progress to something a little more dense. To get started, so that same spot we're looking for, we're going to place the ball up against the wall, and then we're going to roll into it, and then we're going to find some tenderness, kind of hang out there, let that muscle release. And then another strategy you can try, this one's a little more intense, so be careful when you do this. You don't want to be too tense or too tight or so much pressure that you can't let that muscle relax and be inhibited. But we'll do that same thing. We'll look for that top part of the shoulder blade towards the middle of the spine, not on the spine. And then we'll simply lay down, and you can roll around in there until you feel some tightness. Another thing you can try is you can tack it down, apply the pressure, and then move around, tack down the tissue, move around. What you're trying to do is trying to let that tissue be a little more inclined to move around by applying some pressure and then creating movement to loosen it up. But we're going to move on to the next thing, which is going to be stretching, which will give us better range of motion, more movement out of the tissue. The first one we're going to do is for the Levator scapula. So we're going to shrug our shoulders and then unshrug. Keep the shoulder blades down and back through the duration of the stretch. Start with the neutral chin, turn to about a 45-degree angle, and pull into the armpit until you feel the first spot of tension. And you want to do this until you feel the muscle release. So don't worry about time, 30, 60, 90 seconds. Do 2 to 3 reps so 2 times you feel that muscle release, and then go back into the stretch, and then do it until you feel it release again. If you're doing it for 20, 30 seconds and you're not getting release, then you're really not doing yourself any good. Another one that we're going to stretch out that kind of tends to be overactive with the Levator scapula in most cases is the upper trapezius, or this little triangle right here. Do the same thing, start neutral, except this time we're going to keep the shoulder blade down and back and pull to a lateral direction. First spot of tension, very important that any stretch you want to go to the first spot of tension because you don't want to stretch anything else, ligaments, whatever it may be. But more importantly, since it's so close to the spine and the brain, you really want to take that extra step of caution. So again, Levator scapula, slight turn, down into the armpit, upper trap. Same thing, shoulder blade down and back, lateral direction. Last thing we got for you, so we got a little stretching rope here. We're going to externally rotate, so here's internal rotation, here's external rotation. We're going to externally rotate the arm, and then we're going to make sure that we're not gripping onto it. We're going to come into a nice passive stretch here. We're going to get a little bit of bicep, a little bit of pec, and then we're going to address the Levator scapula. Again, keeping that shoulder blade down and back, hang out here, and pull down into there. Again, hold that until you feel it release, and hopefully that will help you with some of your movements, especially your pressing and pulling exercises in the gym. Thanks for watching.